Dun, dun,
Ready to be
dun. We are
excited.
live for another Wednesday night of Frozen CAV HQ.
Yeah. Yes.
Icicle,
Having the frozen
icicles
south.
hanging. Yes, the Great White
Yes.
North. Got icicles
Except we're
hanging
not.
from my beard. Oh, I
Seriously.
am I am so ready for winter to be over. I was talking to my wife the other day. I said,
Mhm.
"There's a good chance that come next year that Talon Gaines is going to be a Southern Hemisphere, South Florida team or something like that."
Just a migratory company.
John, what are you pulling that we be getting Lexus ads on this channel? I have no idea. I have no idea what picks the ads out. So
Just fits the demographic. I guess,
I
Ilmarin,
guess
tell us
we're
the
we're a
truth.
bunch of
How many
old,
Lexuses do you own?
yeah, we're all a bunch of old guys.
Yeah, they think we have money.
Yeah. Oh, they got
Uh,
like a bunch of old guys. They all got cars, nice cars.
yeah.
So, but well, I'm
They have
sorry. I'm
complaints.
sorry if you got a Lexus ad. So
Yep.
we'll get to that here in a minute. Yes.
Did you share that image somewhere,
I
John?
did
Or have
not.
people seen
It's
this already?
no. This is first time coming up on the video tonight. I'm going to put
So
some
Cthulhu,
pictures up later, but this is first shot.
Cthulhu, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. So we're getting very very close. This is I got to make some changes after making this one, and then I think we'll be ready to go. So, but we are close.
Very close. That's a good looking model, John.
Thank you. It actually, like I said, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would in MDF. So I am very pleased with it as being it. I think it stays true to the original Badger design,
Mm.
and but flips over from being an APC into to being a dropship, and looks good. And we'll be showing some more of the details tonight. I'll be flipping it around and showing it around a little bit here. So in just a while, kind of
Sweet.
point out some of the things on it. And didn't have a chance to get it painted yet, but I figured this way. Plus, it's kind of a better idea where you can see what's the actual MDF and what comes with the detail with the whiteboard. So, but other than that, James, you're getting ready for CavCon. I saw you working more on your stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I got kind of lucky with the weather this week. They decided to close down our plant, and so I've been had a lot of free time, and I have started out on Monday working on this Alvernus force, and got to work on it some yesterday and some more today. I am pushing along. I I, I I sometimes regret my choices when it comes to painting. I have this habit of I do all the detail, like the majority of the paint scheme first,
Right.
and then I have to come back in and paint in the windows and the little black things, and then invariably I get black or brown or something where it doesn't belong, and I got to clean it up and fix it. It's like I could repaint the base scheme faster than I can paint the little details in. So I feel like that's why I'm just a hobbyist, not a guru.
Well, I think this has kind of been my uh, holy grail here that I've been working on since the weather got bad. I mean that's been the good
Hmm.
thing about the cold weather, I guess, is it's kept me locked into a room trying to keep warm in front of a computer. So I think
Hmm.
I got quite a few things accomplished over the freezing spell. So, but like I said, I got this finished put together today, and I kind of had to fight the laser cutter a little bit because the laser cutter's water cooled, and it's out
Hmm.
there in the
Oh
shop.
Lord.
Yeah, and when the with the temperature drop and everything, I kind of had to work around that and trying to keep everything warm out there to keep the cooler from freezing up, and it's unfortunate that once you get those laser tubes start getting water through them, it's very, very hard to get the water back out of them. You know, some people go, oh, you can push air through them and get them cleaned out, but you got to be super careful that you don't use the air and cause it to bust because they're just so fragile, you know. And but with the water in them, if they start freezing at all, you can just, there goes a $2,000 laser tube. So
Yeah, not what we need.
yeah,
Especially,
the power outages have been bad, especially in the Texas area. We've got quite a few people that we know down there, and between me and my wife, and we've been getting hourly updates. And there's some people down there that we know that as of, I mean, this was this morning, they've been without power for 58 hours. So I feel for them. Luckily, we're in Kansas is having some rolling blackouts. We're in a small enough area that hadn't really affected us, because if they black us out, they're not really saving that much. So
yeah,
I think the
don't change.
Wichita and Kansas City and Topeka area and stuff like that's been getting it a lot worse than around here. So
I read an article earlier today about Texas and its power shortage problems, and part of the problem is Texas is an independent
a lot of their
power
problems are
collective.
self-made. Yes.
They are.
Yes.
They are. So in America, they're basically three big conglomerations of power networks.
Right.
One serves east of the Rockies, one serves west of the Rockies, and one serves Texas. And so Texas isn't connected to the other ones very much.
Right.
So they can't buy power when they need it because they're Texas.
Right.
They do things their own way.
And here was the other kicker that got them, is they had a freezing spell down there back in 2011 that they had some of these problems with. And they were told at the time that stuff needs to be done to the infrastructure so that this doesn't happen again. And I think that they decided not to go ahead with it. So, of course, some of the powers that be wanted to get up and tell everybody it was because of renewable energy, because the windmills are frozen up. But, you know, they have wind turbines in Greenland, and they don't seem to have any problem with theirs. And that's
North Dakota has
they're just not, they've not been winterized. And that's the same problem they're having with natural gas, is they've got the natural gas, but all the pumps and the stations and everything all froze up. They can't move it. So yeah, live and learn.
True.
So anyway, but I wish everybody, you know, I don't wish anything ill of anybody, and I hope that they get it all resolved pretty quick and get it taken care of, because it's miserable. I can't stand it to be 60. I can't even imagine any lower than that. So
I can only imagine that in the spring and the summer there are going to be some legislative changes to the way power works in Texas.
There's going to have to be some kind of just the rainy day law or something, you know. So got to change it around. All right, so enough on weather. We'll move on. This is CAV. We'll talk CAV. What else? What else have we been working on? Getting ready for CAVCon. I'm hoping next Wednesday's show will be a big CAVCon show. We should have quite a few things to announce and talk about, and trying to get everything ready for the show and what we're going to have available. And I don't know if we're ready to announce the minis that we'll be releasing. There'll be a CAV and probably a vehicle. I don't think we'll do another aircraft. I think it'd be a vehicle right now. And there'll be dual cast figures. So we'll be talking about those. We're gonna have some new paint collars, some other goodies. So hopefully we'll have more to be able to talk about that. I'm trying to have everything finalized by the 1st of March. That way we can put up the schedule. And so luckily, with it being virtual, we don't have to be as 3 months in advance. We can, as long as you know it's coming on that weekend, you'll know as soon as we've got the what's happening, we'll let everybody know. So
Also, thankfully, it wasn't this past weekend.
yes, yeah, that'd have been
That would
bad.
have been
That'd have been bad if we this
cold.
weekend. Yes, we would. That I'm afraid CavCon would have been skipped. So
Yeah, cap not.
Cav not. We're going to another weekend. So hopefully the last weekend of March will be good. So, but we'll start pushing more of the stuff out on some of the social stuff so that people know what's going on, and we'll go from there. So. And I will go on the line here and tell you that with almost 100% certainty that this drop ship will be available by CavCon. It may be sooner than that, but it for sure will be available at CavCon. So it's close enough now. Right now, it's more of just finalizing the design and getting all the material in, so that we've got everything here ready to start cutting and going. So it may not look it, but it takes 10 square feet of material to build this thing. So it's a lot. Yeah, basically you can get 3 of these out of a sheet of plywood if you were. Yeah, so
cutting them out of plywood. Boy, that would be a big heavy.
Yeah, it would definitely be. I mean, this is no slouch. You know, I mean, it's MDF, but it's got enough weight that it feels good, you know, but not so much weight that it'll be miserable to have around and everything like that. So you'll definitely, it's, you know, and you're not gonna be able to throw it around, so you're gonna have to take care of it. So, but it's pretty solid.
You're gonna need a place to park it.
Yeah. All right. So, is it cold in space? Yes, and they cannot hear you scream. All right. So, let's talk about the dropship a little bit. It is about 18 inches long, I think is what it is. It's either 18 or 20. Didn't bring I don't have a ruler up here. I can't remember where originally it was 18, but I kind of changed up the back a little bit so it sticks out a little farther. So it may be just a little bit longer than that. Move it down just a little bit there so it's more centered. It is 10 millimeter scale, so it is actually scaled to the calves. We use the Emperor for to size this thing up so you can get an idea of how big it is. So I figure it's probably good for 4 to 6 calves, would be where, and then this is a smaller, this would be more like a insertion type drop ship, you know, small units, special things like that, as opposed to being, you know, carrying great big ones or, you know, whole companies or battalions or something like that. So obviously with vehicles and stuff, they can put it in there a lot more. I'm hoping to go back. I'd like to draw out some deck plans for this thing. I'd started on the broadsword a little bit. So as I built this, you know, when I was figuring out the details, kind of some of the things that I put on here, you know, where I think things would be, you know, in the actual vehicle. So it not necessarily, yeah, I mean, it could be a specialist squad. I mean, the Rocks use 4 model squads. So, I mean, they're definitely it's definitely a squad carrier. If not, you know, maybe with some extra ones or something like that. This would be, I mean, these type of drop ships, they each faction has their own version of them, and they make them by the buttload. You know, it's just they want to spread them out enough. You know, I would think that if you were doing a planetary drop or something like that, that you're going to want to not put all your eggs in one basket. I would hate to put one ship, you know, with an entire battalion of calves in it or something like that coming down, and it gets popped by one missile and crashes in the ground, and you just lost your, maybe, you know, your whole invasion force there. So, you know, it's easier for them to take these and put smaller groups in there, get these things spread out, use them for bases, you know, to operate from for repair, things like that. So the more that they have out there, the better. And these are carried, you know, they'll have like a, yeah, basically, yeah, like the Pelicans or something like that. Um, they'd have a mothership that they would all dock with, that would get them between planets. And then once they're actually ready to launch, then they would separate from there and go about their thing. So that's really the broadsword, the Badger and stuff. That's really what they're designed around, and so that size works out really good for building the ship. So, like I said, it's all MDF board. It's got some white cardboard. It's not really cardboard. It's an illustration board. That's easy to paint on and put detail on. To do some of the thinner details, this is the MDF is 3 millimeter thick, whereas the whiteboard is 1 millimeter thick. So you can kind of change some things with it. This is probably right now 95% done. There's now that I've put together a version with the details on it. There's some things I want to change up and do a little different now that I can visually see them, how they turned out. I want these to be a little smaller. There's some stuff in here. There's some things that got covered up that need to be rearranged a little bit. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, you know, and if you've got one of the original Badgers in metal, I think if you look at between the two of them, I think I did a pretty good job of doing the original justice. It's got a lot of the details that luckily, I luckily how you want to look at it, the Badger was not a well detailed model to begin with. It had some very basic things on it, but the things that were on it, I managed to capture and keep on here while changing it up to make it more into a dropship. So you can see it's got the main hull body here. It's got 4 pods to the sides of it. These are going to be more of your weapons bay, your ammo, engines, things like that back here. I think that I have it worked out so that you can either have these out or in. I just left them out for now because I left something off when I cut a piece, and so it won't lock like it's supposed to. But so hopefully I'll adjust a little bit for that and still be able to do that, because I had a couple people ask me to have it do that. I mean, to me, I would just, if it was mine, I would have them out, or at least so they could be taken off so that they don't get broken or something like that, which you can with these. These aren't permanently glued. So, but it's got hatchways. It's got, like I said, and painting is going to make a 100% difference. They'll tie all that together, and you won't see the dark parts and stuff like that. It's got a mating collar up here on the top. You know, if you had like a shuttle or another ship that they needed to go to, so that is there. We have the cockpit area. We have the ammo bays out here for the missiles. Now, one thing that I did go ahead and do with these is I've 3D printed the missile heads. And actually, I think I can pull one of these out. It might be easier to look at it this way. Adjust here a little bit. Get a little closer. So here is these are the pods that come out, and like I said, normally they would mount inside there, and hopefully it may or may not by the time we get it done. But it's got the exhaust on the back, and then the missile head sticking out on here. These will not come with the final model as of right now. These will be, but I will put them up as 3D files. So if it's something that you want to have printed out, you can, or if you have access to a 3D printer and want to do them yourself, they just pop in. If not, they'll just be holes that'll be there. Then if we kind of flip it around and look here at the back a little bit, this is quite a bit different from the original model. because it's got engines. Hopefully I can make this all look back here. There we go. So anyway, so it has engines. I guess it's showing this way. No, that's the top. We want it this way. There we go. We'll flip it around like so. Okay, so these would be the main thrust engines for pushing it down the ship. It does have a bay door on the back that opens up. So it's got that. It's got, you know, you can see some of the piping and stuff here that goes on it. It's got some windows in the back for, I don't know, observation decks or something that comes off there if they want to go out and watch the engine shoot or something. I don't know. But like the original Badger, here on the bottom, is it has the 4 thruster bays, but for landing, for hovering and everything like that. These are actually notched out so you can see through them. You've got the landing gear that'll be deployed. You've got some airlocks, some more hatches. So you've got all that detail on there. You've got the stuff here on the side. Both sides have they are I'm trying to remember what the deal. It's basically it's hydrogen, I think is what I've got it all down there, is what the basic fuel that most of these guys burn for thrust. But anyway, so it's got clam doors on both sides of it that would open in the middle, and the bottom would come down and be the ramp out, and then the top would get out of the deal. Got some more exhaust on the ends. It's got some fuel access points here where they would hook up when they were needed, when they would be in port and fill it up. So anyway, so that's it kind of in a nutshell right now. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty with it when it turned out. If I can remember what the fuel is for these things, I will try to get that for you and post it up, say something on Facebook or say something in Discord to you or whatever. I've got the whole background as to what they use for their normal zipping around the space with. So as opposed to their jump hyperdrives. So anyway, it seems like I've spent more time on it than only have be able to talk about for 15 minutes.
I mean, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
I guess so. I guess so. So, but and I tried to. I don't know that it is. It's more. I think I've expanded on it for some of the stuff that's going in the Journal of Recognition and something like that. So it may or may not be, but I've got it somewhere. But I tried to keep things at different levels to give it more 3D feel. You know, so you know it's got with the hatches and things like that sticking up. These whatever these are. These are from the original models. So. So there's lots of texture to it, things so it's just not big and flat, and things to catch your for dry brushing and things like that will make it. I tried to work in as many of the joints and stuff like that kind of into the design as much as I could so that they weren't too prominent. Of course, when they get painted, they're not going to show up nearly as bad, but you do have the little creases here where we've got the angles, which is just that comes from MDF, trying to put together like that. But I tried to work those lines into the original Badger model had lots of sort of kind of rails on those areas and stuff like that. So I was going to make something to cover them up a little bit better, but I really think that by leaving them, they kind of go with the original design. So they didn't take away. They don't take away from it too much, I don't think. but lots, like I said, just lots of little detail with the locks for locking the doors down. Windows, there's the front windows, there's whatever this thing is from the original model. I don't know, it's a searchlight or something. I don't know. Um, some airlock doors on the inside of the deals for access once it's landed and stuff like that. So pretty happy with it. I did, because I had some extra space on there, I did cut out um, both the rock emblem and the tactical symbol for them, so that you can either glue them on like this, or you can use them for stencils if you want to, or you can use the insides and punch those out and just have those raised up. So thank you, Celeron. Appreciate that. I tried to detail it out as much as, I guess I may over detail it. I don't know. I don't think, can you over detail something? I guess you could. I guess you could
Yes.
get too crazy with it. So there's not very many spaces it's not covered on this. But I tried to look at it too, from how one of these ships would be built. I look at, Star Wars ships, things like that, with some of the things that they do. And, they're real big on, Hollywood is, they'll take, I don't know if you've ever seen how they made some of their ships for that, is they just take model kits, start cutting up the sprues, pieces, and they just glue crap on everywhere. It really makes no sense though. It looks good on screen, but actually it's got too much stuff on it. I guess that goes back to you can't have too much detail. So I looked at this as far as armor panels that would be that they would want to be able to replace if something was to happen. So to a particular spot without having to redo the whole part. Lots of access panels so that they can get to different things if they need to from the outside. The doors can be posable if you want to. That is, it's not built into the deal, so there won't be a either an open or a close as far as the pieces that you use. If you want to have the doors open with a little bit of engineering, you can do that. So I built the inside and the interior of the ship so that if that's something that you as a modeler want to do with open bay doors, and maybe do something with the inside a little bit or whatever, you can. So, but as far as actually making it so that you can choose between the two as a true option, no. Like I said, I am trying to get where the pods will either go in or out. So we'll see how that works. Just trying to get the engineering down so that it works without having to add a bunch of other parts. Because you can't really make a rod out of MDF. You can make square ones, but those don't spin very well. Another little option that I put on here in the corners, I cut out little holes on each corner, and there's a couple other spots are back here on the back or whatever. They're small enough and they stay dark that you can just leave them as holes. But if you were so inclined to put some LED lights, if you wanted to put some running lights on it, you could. So those are there. They're already pre-cut, and I think they're 3mm, which is a pretty common LED size that you can buy that'll pop through there. So hopefully I'd like to go back and do one later on with and put some LED lights in it. So I think that'd be kind of cool to have some interior lighting and stuff like that. So, but like I said, I built the inside. It's hollow. It's got a couple of hall breaks for support. But if you as a modeler want to make some changes, do some things to it, you have the ability to do that. So
I'm excited that it's a CAV model that's finally And we have a couple of, or at least one other, but it's a cab model that's big enough you can really go to town on it with freehand or stencils or just, I mean, there's a huge amount of room there to paint just anything you want,
Oh
really. So
yes, yeah. This would be a great model for anything. How kind of painting? It'll lend itself really well to airbrushing. Um,
mhm.
I like airbrushing on top of MDF to begin with because all these lines are cut into the wood. So I mean, if you run your finger across them, they're probably a millimeter into the surface. Um, so you want to be careful with what kind of paint you use. You don't want to pile it up too thick or on there because you can fill those up. But as long as you keep it in light coats, this will keep showing through. And you can always go in and wash it afterwards if you want to bring it back out the black and the line work and everything like that.
Yeah, there's just a ton of potential there. It's going to be fun to paint on.
But yeah, that'll be my next. I'm going to let it stew for a couple of days. I'm ready to walk away from it.
Hmm.
And then once I do that, I'll come back and make the changes uh, the file for it, and then once we get more material in, we'll um, cut another one. And once that one does everything that I want it to do, which it should. I mean, I was amazed how easy this thing went together. Again,
Hmm.
that like I said, most of the changes are not even engineering. Most of them are just in detail and how I'm going to do them and do it a little different here and there. So it won't take anything drastic to do it. But then I'll cut another one and get to put it together again. Um, it is do not plan on getting one and sitting down in an hour and having it ready to go. It's probably, I would say, for somebody that does a lot of MDF work, it's probably a 10 to 15 hour kit. So it's got 220-ish pieces,
Wow.
and that's not counting the whiteboard. That's just the MDF pieces. Um, it's when I started this, I don't even remember talking about it, but I wanted it to be as simple as I could be. I wanted basically a box if I could. As far as putting it together, and it's just you can't do it. I mean, it just
Mm-mm.
to get what you want it to do and to change things up enough. I tried to be as sparse as I could, and it just every time I turn around, oh, there's another 10 pieces. I need to do this or do that. Um, the part of the thing too is the pieces do not come already pre-cut as far as they're not individual pieces. They come in a sheet. So I leave a
Hmm.
little tab on the piece, so you have to cut the tab to take the piece off. If you've done any TT Combat model kits that we sold, it's just like that. It's got a little tab you have to cut off. Um, there's a lot of kits out there that you can get in MDF that are just bags of pieces and everything like that. But it's hard to find the pieces. You're piling, you got to spread it all out there. And B, for quality control, for us to be able, if I could look at a sheet and there's no open holes, and I know you've got all the pieces. So
Hmm.
so that side of it is good for us on this side to make sure that you get everything in there. So I just used Elmer's glue to put it together. MDF and Elmer's glue, PVA glue is like peanut butter and jelly. The stuff soaks that glue up in there, and it sets fast enough that you can work on one part, come right back to it in 5 minutes, and keep going. So, but it's going to take you some time to build it. So that'll be our next step too. Is that's part of me putting this together was kind of get the steps how to put it together, and go in there. So I'm going to have to come up with some diagrams for for your parts. So
Yep. stick it out on the web so people can look at it.
Yeah, where you'll be able to download it on the deal. I basically, the way I built this, that worked out pretty good this time, because I learned a lot from just the first time, is I built the cockpit area first, then built the hull and added that all together, and then came back and built the pods out. So the first one I built the pods first, and then tried to get them on the sides. I did. They actually went on easier than I thought they would go on, but I've done a lot of this and I know how that it was built. So, I was able to do it. Somebody else would probably throw it against the wall trying to get all those pins to line up. So this time I built the hull, built the plate, or put the plate on for the insides of the pods, and then built the pods out, and it worked great. So landing gear and missile launchers were last. So and some of the detail and all the detail work. So pretty much anything that's white, just you can glue on after the fact. There's probably a couple of pieces, maybe if I was going to do it again, that I might glue these on here first before I put those in there, just because it got tight but it's still, everything fit fine. It's just, I have big bumbling sausage fingers, so it sometimes gets in the way. So anyway, what else would you like me to cover about the Rock Badger Dropship? This will probably be the only one that we do in MDF. We may do one more because the Amethyl ship has never been, we don't have a design for it. So that could be one that we could go back or could start off from and design with MDF in mind, and come up with a nice design that really worked with what's good for MDF. But the other ships are all based off of original models out of the game, and they don't
curves.
They don't really lend themselves well to MDF. Could you make one out of MDF in that it would look good? Yes. Would it do it
practical
justice that you would want it to do? No, because it just would have so many more pieces that would be, to get those curves, there's some trade-offs there, and it would still look good, but I don't know that it would lend itself as well to that. So, my hope down the road is still to get the broadsword out and, be able to 3D print it or end up having some kits made up of it or something like that. That's another version of that I'm still looking at. If we could figure out a good way to do some resin kits or something like that to do the broadsword. I would like it. I didn't bring that broadsword up here to go with it. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures with the first one that I did. They're pretty scaled pretty accordingly. I think the broadsword, of course, it sits a little lower than this one because it's a little sleeker. But as far as table space, they're pretty equivalent. So, which I was real happy on, because that kind of proved the scale was right on the first one, because we scaled this out again with the minis and everything like that, and they worked out pretty close. So that would make them, let's see, 18 inches. They're basically an inch is 15 feet. So that would make it, about 280 feet in real. So about the length of a football field. Big ship for just carrying 4 calves.
John, if I can somehow in my lifetime own the Badger and the broadsword, that would be the bee's knees. It would be awesome. I would love it.
Well, and that's the other side of looking at it is, I mean, everybody's got their favorite faction, and we'd love for everybody to be able to pick what ship that they want to. But in the grand scope of what we need to have to play, if we've got a couple of drop ships available, you throw them out there on the board. You can this doesn't have to be a rock badger. This can be just a generic drop ship that you can use for a scenario and put whatever you want on it. That's the reason I didn't go ahead and cut any of this kind of stuff into the ship. So that if you don't have no desire for it to ever be rock anything, you never have to do that. You can put whatever you want on there. So these are just glued on the deal. So a bit longer than a 747. I'll take your word on that. I don't know the exact length of a 747, but like I said, at 18 inches times 15 feet, whatever that works out to be 290. I guess it'd be 290 feet. So, well, let's see. No, 30. It'd be 270 feet.
So, John, when you get to thinking about that El Mirathol dropship in some fictional time in the future, just keep the Cossack in mind. I really love the El Mirathol Cossack in its shape, its wedge sort of arrowhead look. I think that would be and it's pretty angular. There's no curves there in particular. I think that would be a good inspiration.
Well, like I said, it's just a matter of again looking at it and taking into the what you can and can't do with MDF. I mean, if you look here at the side, these doors are actually they're curved doors. I mean, it's a curve that goes around there, so it's broken into 4 places. But same thing up here with the cockpit area. Crash into everything here, but this slopes down and then comes back around the side, and so I mean you can simulate quite a few things with the MDF, and with that already having that in mind when we build one. Does the rear hatch door open? It does not. It does not. The back door area actually serves as kind of the backbone of this thing. So structurally, it needed to be kept solid. Again, the way that it's cut out on the deal, if you as a modeler wanted to go in there and cut that door out and reinforce that area a little bit more with some stuff on the inside, then you could. But for right now, like I said, it's just up there. So wherever the camera is there. But it's got some nice detail on it. It's got the lock on the top. So it is a bit of a flying brick. We have this would, if I doubt that I would build something like this if I started from scratch. I'm not wanting to take anything away from it, but the Badger is kind of a design in and of itself. I mean, it's a flying box. And me and James has had that conversation as to why some of the things are modeled the way that they are, older stuff, but but it was fun. It was fun to take it to pay homage to it, and I like it. I like it. It turned out nice. I really looking forward to painting and putting it on the board. So, and then taking it, another step with some lights and some other things that I'd like to do on the next one. Cthulhu's second Spaceball reference. Does this mean do we take a drink? Everybody that's got a bottle of scotch in front of them, everybody, Spaceball reference, take a drink.
Sounds like fun to me.
My brother's father's cousin. Oh. Okay, what else?
Well, I mean, we've talked about virtual CAVCon a little bit. We suspect that this ship is going to be available during virtual CAVCon, yes, if not before. Yes. Man, it's just exciting. There's two brand new models that we're going to be able to buy during virtual CAVCon, or let me rephrase that. We're going to acquire them. I don't know what the principles are. One a CAV and one a vehicle. And we don't know what those are yet. But we do know they're going to be in what material?
They will be dual cast.
So we're going to have 2 new dual cast models. So is this it's going to be like an order something, get bonus models? Can you buy the models? Can I order 10 of the vehicles?
I don't know yet. We will probably kind of do it like we did last time with each order. We'll include, because they'll be available for retail afterwards.
Yeah.
Or we may go ahead and just put them up as retail. But if you know, so you can either pay for them or you can do an order and get them for free.
You know.
So we'll come up with something. We'll make it good.
So hypothetically, I could order a Badger and get free models to go with it. Sign me up.
You're in. You're all in. Now, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, so I know where I've talked about price wise a little bit. I think we're looking right around $80 is where the kit's going to be. So
it's good for me.
I think that kind of looking around out there with some of the stuff that was out there, that we're kind of in the right ballpark with it. I mean, obviously, I'd like to get $250 for it, but we got to be realistic. So
come on, John.
It's it's hard to separate the initial work to the production side of it.
Right.
You think of, oh, I spent all those hours in the computer and I spent all the hours putting it together and everything like that, but that's theirs. So
seriously.
Yeah. Once we've got the all of our new machinery set up and everything like that, Tiger Wraith, the Despot Bees will be coming out. So those are the Despot Bees, the Teseki 2s, the Cobras. Those are already on mold, ready to go. We just got to have all the system put in here. So no, like I said, I spent the last couple of days. We've gone over where we can cut corners a little bit, make sure we got time into this and everything, and put it together, and how long it'll take to cut on the laser and everything like that. So I think that's a realistic. They will not be available as far as retail, as far as a store ordering them. So they'll be strictly a order from Talon Games ship. So that was really the only way that we could get it at that price. If we made it available to retail, you're looking at probably at least $160 to $200 kit. So because everybody wants to get their piece of the pie.
Yeah. Yep. That's the way it works.
Yep. Oh, now I got the yawns. Oh, it's all that.
Me too.
It's all that being around the heater. The heaters can kill you. Like, oh, it's so nice and cozy and warm.
Lay underneath 5 blankets and play video games.
Yes,
that's my goal.
I have got a lot of reading done at night. So my wife, I never could get into it, but she is a Outlander. Is that the series on Stars about the time traveling Scotch? Apparently it's a big show for chicks, I guess. It's got kind of a sci-fi kind of a thing to it too. But anyway, she is just week, from deal. But when I was a kid, there was a show on PBS. It came on like Monday nights or Tuesday nights, and they took a comic book that they had, and they had it so that they could, put the panels up on the TV at certain ways at a time or whatever, and they would have people that would voice the different things, but the pictures that you saw were actually the panes from the comic book, and they would pick, I think it was pretty much, I think it was all DC, if I remember right. I think it was all DC, but I watched that every week. I was, you just go through, they do a whole comic book, and with all the voices, and they would move it, the zoom in or zoom out, to kind of what effects you can get with pictures. But I enjoyed it. So
I've been playing the Spider-Man for the PS4. I bought that a couple of 2 or 3 years ago whenever it came out, and never got around to playing it. So I've been working my way through that in my spare time, enjoying the crap out of that. That game is spectacular.
I've been playing with Tabletop Simulator a little bit more. Kind of learned some things on it. So trying to get to where I can get a playable CAV version up for that anyway. So that'd
be good.
That's still out there and on the table. Again, anybody that wants to help on it, that has any idea what they're doing, please jump up and say, hey, I want to help. So I'm hoping to get my future game designer son and more involved in it. So he was talking to me about it the other night. So maybe
go over and have lunch with his professor, buy him something, and say, hey, assign this project to my kid.
Yeah, you need your kid to do this. So all right, so we've got 4 or 5 minutes left. Is there anything anybody would like me to talk about? Any quick questions I can try to answer? There's something you don't like about the Dropship that you would like to see maybe done different? I don't know at this point anything will, but at least I know that you don't like it now. I can maybe fix it, or I don't know that there's anything.
So the one thing that comes to mind to me, and this isn't a complaint, I wonder how well it scales with those turrets that we got in our terrain packs in the last Kickstarter. Could we use those to kit bash like external weapon turrets on it?
Yes, you can.
Nice.
I may put up a couple. I actually designed 2 guns for this thing. I've got a 3D file version of one, and then I have a MDF version of one. The MDF one just didn't float my boat enough. It looked good, but it wasn't good, but I'll put that file up for the turret too, if you want on it.
Nice.
So
I'd like to see it at least.
These were originally going to be smaller here, and then had turret locations here. So I'm going to plan on, and so after I took them out, I scaled those back up, but I want to scale those back down a little bit and leave this area open up here. So that'll give you a spot if you want to put it in there. What I could do too is I could put a ring up here that's raised that has the same interior circle as the terrain turrets.
The terrain turrets.
Yeah, if you wanted to put them in there.
That's a good idea, John.
And that would, whether you put them on there or not,
it's up to you.
It would look okay. No, I'm just saying the rings would be part of the design, whether you use the turrets or not. But if you did want to actually put the turrets on there, you'd have the rings already ready to go. I can do that. That's good. Good idea.
So before we get off here, let's talk real briefly about tomorrow's stream, the Big Stompy podcast.
It is. I was just getting ready to go down our list of everything that's up and going.
So I think the plan right now is 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Me, Ross, I believe Todd and Hugh are going to join us again. We're going to continue talking about our lists for virtual CAVCon. We're going to try and talk about them, from a tactics and a strategy perspective. I'm going to, for instance, I'll tell you what I think my list does and how I'm going to do it. And then Ross and Todd are going to go, nope, I'm going to blow you up like this. And I'm going to go, oh, crap. Uh, and it's going to be like that all night long. Just four guys sitting around talking about the lists that they build and what they do and how to go about, getting around it or undoing it, or where one's strong and one's weak. Just, the kind of hobby talk you would have maybe after you'd actually played a game at the shop. Drop by, hang out with us, and, listen to people that, not me, but listen to people that actually know how to play the game and play it well, and see if you can pick up some strategy and tips from those guys.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was going to answer a couple of questions. Would a hatch fit for the rings? It's pretty close on there. I figured I'd kind of design them more up like maybe some kind of a fuel port or something like that, where they could hook something up if they were trying to refuel something or needing to take on stores, stuff like that, water, something. I'll pretty it up. It'll all make sense. It'll look good in there. I've already got several hatches in this area, so I don't think I want to add 2 more hatches up there. No, that sounds great. I was going to tune in. So I was going to actually, my plan is, while you guys were talking, I was going to work on my Templar force tomorrow night, just as a break to mess with something else. So I'll be there. I'll throw a few trick questions out for you guys.
Nice.
So
I like the looks of it. Maybe you can answer ECM questions.
Tiger CAV size instead of naval size. I have no idea what that means. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Whatever this design ends up, I will make it so that it looks as part of the ship. So if you don't want to put a turret there, it'll look okay. It'll look still as part of the ship, but it'll have an inside hole ring that'll be the right size for you to put the turrets out of from the weapons packs if you wanted to put them on there. So
sounds good.
Yeah. I may do them back here too. So you can have 4 of them. So I'll play with it. That's an easy one to do. So all right. Yeah. Oh, CAV size weapons. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. These are not these missiles would be for area denial or taking, defense or taking out another ship or something as they were coming in, because these are pretty big missiles. I think they're 6 millimeters across, so that would scale them out at about 6 feet across. So pretty good size.
Torpedo
yes,
size.
Pretty good size weapons. Not something that you'd probably waste on a single CAV if you needed to. So I know that we did on the broadsword. There's a couple of turrets built into it, but since that was all 3D done, they made more sense. So, but like I said, I'll put the files out there too for the ones I did make. All right, so Big Stompy podcast tomorrow night, 8:00. Be here or be square.
Damn.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Saturday, Chris is going to be sculpting. I have no idea what he's working on right now. I totally missed Saturday. So
snowman.
Was he doing a snowman?
Oh, I don't know. Just what else would he be sculpting in this weather?
So I have no idea. I know I thought he had finished up the Starhawk 7 because we're trying to get that moving ahead for our big scale kit. And then I don't know where he was going from there. So I know that we've got so many models done right now. It's kind of hard to jump into too many things going like that. I know he's kind of gearing up for our new 20 or 32 millimeter line of figures. So I don't know if he was switch on it. I'll have to go back and look because I have no idea what he worked on Saturday. I was tied up with this and didn't pay attention. So anyway, and then I was not on last night because I was afraid that the electricity was going to go out, and I just was like, oh, that's exactly but it turned out it didn't, but I was afraid that it was going to. So, but I'll be back Tuesday night, and we'll be back on doing more terrain. I've done that. I've worked on the ship for the last couple of weeks just because I was busy on it, and it's kind of terrain. It's kind of terrain orientated in a way.
Mhm.
So, but I need to get the desert board, get back on track with that, get caught up with it. So hopefully weather will be a little nicer where I can work on it. Part of that too has been because it's been so cold out in the shop, and there's a level that I can work out there, and then there's a level that it just gets too cold and you can't paint because you can't get the paint, and it just nothing dries. So, and I just don't have enough room anywhere where it's warm. Every inch is covered. So anyway, well, thank you all for being here tonight. It was a great show. I enjoyed talking about the dropship. I'm very happy, like a proud papa. It's my baby, my little baby. Yes. Thank you. James, thank you for being here, as always.
Not a problem.
You're my buddy, my pal.
Yes, sir.
Everybody else, thanks for being here too. Stay warm, and make sure you show up for Big Stompy Podcast tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I will be in the chat throwing out random zigs at them. So we'll see how well they zag. So say goodnight, James.
Good night, all.
Good night, guys. Take care. Stay warm. Be safe.